Video game sequels are almost always a treat. Learning from their predecessors and honing in on all the qualities that fans love, sequels are an opportunity for developers to nail ongoing storylines, upgrade graphics, throw in new mechanics, and generally crank games up to 11. Often, video game sequels are the best entries into their respective series, going the opposite direction to the age-old assumption that number 2s are always a bit shit. But hey, whilst we're on the subject of shit and sequels, Adam number 3 is also here.
Hi guys!
Because he is our own mysterious gaming follow-up or something. Looking to the future then, whether that's in the endless white of the Animus or at Hogwarts School of Witchcraft and Wizardry, there is a surprising amount of favourite franchises that are set to get new installments in the grand old year of 2020, including a few healthy rumours that seem just about ready to drop. I am Season 2 of Ash from WhatCulture Gaming.
And I'm Adam, a misguided spin-off.
And these are 9 video game sequels you didn't know were coming in 2020.
But before we begin, I just want to quickly tell you about today's list sponsor, Pagan Online. Pagan Online is a super stylish, fast-paced hack-and-slash action RPG that will challenge your skill in combat against countless enemies and larger-than-life bosses. Even better, there's a full 60-hour story mode for you to get stuck into, as well as various co-op game modes to jump in with friends or other players, so you won't be caught short when it comes to gameplay possibilities to explore. To keep things varied as well, there are 10 different characters for you to master, and each hero has their own skill tree, meaning endless opportunities to continue building and improving your character's abilities until your heart's content. So, what are you waiting for? Use our link in the description below to check the game out on Steam and let us know what you think. But for now, let's get back to that sweet, sweet content.
9. Harry Potter Magic Awakened. Ever since footage leaked of a new Harry Potter RPG, fans of the wizarding world have been patiently waiting for a follow-up announcement to confirm its reality. Whilst we haven't quite had that yet, Warner Brothers know that they have something potent on their hands, thanks to the visceral response from the Harry Potter community, plus the fact this is clearly quite far in development so as to be playtested. It makes sense for them to hold back until they can drop the damn thing close to its release date and swoop up the profits as the hype train pulls firmly into King's Cross Station. Considering the level of development that had gone into the footage, we know that it was in late-stage production and had quality gameplay many fans are dying to see more of. This is pure speculation and blind hope at its finest, but the level of polish and silence around its existence seems to suggest that a 2020 release date could be imminent. Time enough to finish up any loose threads, whack out a lovely Christmassy announcement, and get it onto the market to be gobbled up by players. Perhaps it'll even be a next-gen experience, which would explain its absence.
Number 8, Payday 3. I'm afraid Overkill Software and 505 Games, I must insist. You see, my wife, she has been most vocal on the subject of Payday 3. Where is Payday 3? When are you going to get Payday 3? Why aren't you getting Payday 3 now? And so on. So please, Payday 3. While that story is at best a half-truth, the sentiment of it holds as true as the Irish pronunciation of the word through. Everyone wants a third Payday game because the first two are probably the best heist games and/or co-op shooters you've ever played. They even re-released the second installment with a host of improvements to the delighted whoops and cheering of esports players and normal people alike. The reality of a third installment was actually confirmed by, of all things, some loose lips on a message board where a poster confirmed that he was working in the same studio that development work was taking place. Given the turnaround time of the first two and the months that have passed since that revelation, the smart money's on 2020 being the arrival date.
7. Rune Factory 5. A cutesy Switch title coming as the long-awaited follow-up to the last Rune Factory in 2012, the game comes as a farming simulator that's somewhat similar to the Stardew Valleys and Dragon Quest builders of the world, only with a fantastical edge that sets the title apart from its peers. The spin-off to the Harvest Moon series has a story that plays out amongst a heap of resource management, combining crop sorting, monster taming, and villager wooing into one big colourful world. And 2020 will see the title brought back to life in full Technicolor with a new and fantastic look. Whilst its future was uncertain for a while after the bankruptcy of developer Neverland, Marvelous have picked up and polished the title in their stead. As for the game itself, there will be a secret bonus for those that have played the most recent Rune Factory 4 remaster. It's set to be faithful to fans of the series, even if that's about all we know at this point.
Number 6, Dragon Ball Z Kakarot. Quintessentially, and with massive apologies to both big anime nerds and my 16-year-old self, Dragon Ball is a thing that worked 1 million times better as a video game than it does a TV series. I don't make the rules, but having sat through 4 entire summer afternoons watching people do nothing but raise their power levels and bark exposition at each other, I've earned the right to invoke them. Thus, it comes as a surprise to precisely nobody that the franchise has pumped out some of the best fighting games of the last few years. Xenoverse 2 and Fighter Z being worth both your time and your zenny. However, when the next installment, Kakarot, was revealed as being closer to an RPG, eyebrows were understandably raised. They really shouldn't have been though, as the story elements of the series were always what made the fighting itself so compelling. The world was always expansive and richly imagined, and the non-fighting cast of characters are long overdue this sort of introduction in the games. Gamescom 2019 provided the world with substantial looks at the gameplay itself, and while nobody's writing any Breath of the Wild with big explosions hot takes just yet, it looks like being the long-awaited open-world modern DBZ game fans have been after for an age. And best of all, it's probably coming soon.
5. Bayonetta 3. Yes, lots of people know that Bayonetta 3 is coming, and so they should, since the hair-flipping, gun-toting, sass-mouthed badass reappearing on our screens is nothing but a good thing. But Bayonetta's release date is where the real meat of this entry lies. What was always supposed to be a 2019 release, as repeatedly purported by Nintendo, has now been mysteriously replaced with a TBA tag, meaning that it won't be coming out by the end of this year at all. We can only assume that this move is a quiet readjustment of Bayonetta 3's launch, getting pulled back in for a repolish before hitting the shelves officially. So far, we have only seen a teaser trailer and hints of Bayonetta's return to gaming from developers Platinum Games. But considering the original release window and that it was announced way back in 2017, a 2020 follow-up feels remarkably likely. What we know so far of the game is Bayonetta's hair length reverting back to long and luscious, which means we could excitingly be dealing with a prequel rather than a linear follow-up. Of course, she is literally magic and changes her appearance on a whim, so only time will tell how accurate that really is. The release is not set in stone and confirmation is needed from Nintendo, but hey, 2020 is an educated guess at the very least.
Number 4, Two Worlds 3. Look, right, the open world high fantasy RPG Two Worlds 3 has been coming for ages. We do know it's on its way, but have no idea when the title will actually get itself onto our consoles. Which does feel about correct for the series that has done everything wrong from day one. If it wasn't a shoddy game rife with terrible voice acting, shut up and broken mechanics in the first entry, it was the sleeper hit and commercial success that was backed by paid-for positive reviews with number 2. So a completely wangled release schedule for the third installment is doing well by Topwares standards at this point. You don't own that word. The game was scheduled for production over 36 months way back in 2016, which means we should have gotten it this year if all things had worked to plan. Instead, in late 2018, it was revealed that the title was still in pre-production, meaning there was no way it was going to come out anytime soon, despite all the wishful thinking the world could muster up in the meantime. 2020 is still hedging bets, but hey, considering the admirable dedication to the franchise many fans have maintained over the years, they really deserve something nice at this point, don't they?
3. Chivalry 2. Chivalry Medieval Warfare is the very specific but very intense wet dream of someone that loves both historical reenactments and PC gaming rolled together into one chainmail-clad bundle, sending troops of era-specific soldiers in to hack and slash their way through to victory. Chivalry 2 as a follow-up then will be doing the same and much more, confirmed for a 2020 release onto the Epic Games Store at the 2019 PC Gaming Show. The second installment will follow much in the same style as its predecessor, celebrating all things bloody as you ride your way into battle to spread the brains and guts of your enemies in your wake. Is there much else you could want? Most impressively, Chivalry 2 will feature a cinematic option which allows for players to experience their favourite TV and movie battles on screen, with developers Torn Banner name-dropping the Battle of the Bastards from Game of Thrones as an example. And if that wasn't exciting enough on its own and you want something a little spicier to spruce up the bloodshed, the sequel will also let you use a chicken as a murder weapon. Alright then, all bases covered.
Number 2, Darksiders 4. Look, kid, I can't sit here with this big comfy chair and say that I know for certain that Darksiders 4 will safely be in your hands by 2020. In fact, I can't promise you anything good will happen at all over the next 18 months. The world doesn't work like that, but what I can say is this. Darksiders Genesis is technically the 4th in the series, but the developers have always said that it's not meant to be the real 4th game and that a classic title more like the other 3 will be coming along one day. I can also say that Darksiders 3 categorically shifted enough units and drew enough critical praise to mean that another game is an absolute no-brainer. In short, we know they want to make one, but more importantly, by Gunfire Games' own measurements for success, they certainly should. If this is all new to you, then, well, you've still got time to catch up. The post-apocalyptic BDSM hack/sort of puzzly action adventure has been insane fun since the original dropped in 2010. And it even spawned Genesis as a top-down spin-off looter purely to let players have more fun with the world.
1. Assassin's Creed Kingdom. A new Assassin's Creed game every year has become as certain as death and taxes, with the series starting out with one humble 2007 release and pumping out a fresh dive into history's most acrobatic residents like clockwork ever since. The latest to continue the craze is set to be the codenamed Assassin's Creed Kingdom, but for the first time in franchise history, it will arrive 2 years later than its predecessor, Assassin's Creed Odyssey. Now, Ubisoft have claimed before that there won't be a yearly game coming out and have gone back on it, but there's reason to take them seriously since Watch Dogs will be their big banker for the end of this year. There'd be no logic in becoming their own competition by unleashing a surprise AC on the world around the same time frame. It's also been rumoured that Kingdom will be a cross-gen release, so taking into account that all signs point towards new consoles launching in holiday 2020, it makes sense that it would be a similar release window for Assassin's Creed to cash in on. Kingdom will feature a brand spanking new Viking theme as confirmed and elaborated on in a lovely Kotaku article. God bless Jason Schreier. God bless him, everyone. And that's my list.
Our list.
What sequels are you most excited for? Share your thoughts in the comment section below. I've been Ash, and this has been WhatCulture Gaming.
I've also been here.
Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and come back every goddamn day for more. Thanks for watching. Bye.
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 Say bye, Adam.
It's finished now. Can I go now?
Yes.